Hi, I'm Amber. I run Green Acre Vintage, a small sewing company based in Maryland. On this channel, I'll go over the personal sewing projects that I have completed. I will show you the pattern that I used, what I used to complete it, what I followed in the pattern, what I didn't follow in the pattern, and my general review of it. Let's get started. First, I should tell you a little bit about me. I've been sewing since I was 11. My first project I made with my grandmother, who taught me how to use a sewing machine. It was for the 5th grade sock hop, I think, and we made a poodle skirt together. I still remember the color of it. It was a baby blue, and we did make the poodle that went on the skirt. I wish I could find a picture so that I could show you. I can see it very clearly in my head, but eventually I'm sure I'll come across it. Anyway, I fell in love with the vintage style at an early age, and I really have never gone away from it. I have been wearing ready-to-wear for a very long time, and this year I decided to go ahead and do away with the bulk of my wardrobe, my ready-to-wear wardrobe, so that I could make room for more handmade items, but also to encourage myself to complete more projects because, of course, when your closet is full of clothes that you've bought at the store, you're not as inclined to make things for yourself. Obviously, it's time consuming to sew, but it's very satisfying to complete something for yourself. So, midway through the summer, I did this purge, and I had a lot of fabric in my stash that I started to sew up into just basic skirts. So I am still working on my core wardrobe. So I'm not doing a lot of novelty projects right now. So basically today I'm going to tell you about the first pair of trousers that I've ever made. And it's shocking. I've never made pants or trousers, whatever you want to call them. I'm calling them trousers because, you know, I made them for myself. So I want to have a little bit of a fancier name. Never made them for myself. And for a really long time, I just had this fear of sewing trousers, sewing pants. I'm not really sure why, because now that I have completed this pair, it was a very simple project. I think because for a long time, of course, wearing jeans, we all wear jeans. And I had never found a pair of jeans that I loved. I mean, I came close as far as fit, and there were times where I had different brands that made them more for, I guess, girls with curves, and so they would feel a little bit better. But really, towards these last few years, I have really not liked wearing jeans, so I got rid of all of them, and I am not sad about that at all. So I love the vintage style, not only because it is classic, but because the lines are so beautiful. Now, I chose a pattern for trousers that are meant to be workwear, at least in my opinion, that's what they're meant to be. So I did use the pattern. I will tell you right away that I did not follow the pattern to the letter. I am not good at following patterns to the letter. I make a lot of probably big sewing no-nos for a lot of people who would not like to hear that I don't notch my patterns. I don't notch my fabric. I just, maybe I'm lazy. Maybe that's what it is. But I am not crazy about doing those steps, and things seem to turn out all right. I guess it's kind of like, you know, how you wash your clothes. But anyway, so this is the pattern that I used. Simplicity. And I love Simplicity's vintage reproduction patterns. I have an entire cabinet full of them. It's gotten to the point where my husband actually thinks that all I do is collect patterns. So I'm really trying to get through a lot of these so that I can actually have more vintage in my wardrobe. So this one is the Simplicity 8447. It's 1940s vintage. So when I say a reproduction pattern, that means that Simplicity published this pattern in the 1940s. So this is the one that I followed along with, okay? So it is meant to have a cuff at the bottom, and in the instructions, the side is supposed to be where the opening for the pants are. And then of course there's some fitting around the waist, and they are wide leg trousers, high-waisted, fabulous. I, of course, used the pattern to cut out for the legs, and there was quite a bit of ease in them because they are wide leg trousers. For myself, I was very conservative with the fit. I did not cut out for my personal size. I just started as big as the pattern went and just went down from there because, like I said, I'm getting over a sewing fear here. So I did not put a pocket onto the pants. I wanted to see how they would feel first and see if a pocket was even something that I was interested in having. And I did not put the opening for the pants onto the front. And I will show you images of the front and back of the pants, trousers. Look, I'm calling them pants anyway, so whatever, you know what I'm talking about. I did put the opening, I put a zipper into the back. I did not add a fly. I just did a basic zipper opening like what you would see in a skirt, and I like them a lot that way. One thing that I have had a lot of trouble with over the years, and I'm sure I'm not the only person, is when your opening, when your fly, whatever you want to call it, for your trousers, pants, when it's right in the front with the button, a lot of times I end up with holes in my clothing. And this top that I'm wearing, this is a top that I made as well. And it is I'm not sure if it's a rayon or it's just a silk type. But if I were to have a button in the front or even buttons on the side, I'm worried that it's going to work a hole into my fabric. And quite frankly, when you start making things for yourself, you really think about that stuff, because I just don't want to have to remake it just because my zipper or my button has worn a hole into the fabric. And that's just me. So we will go over some of the things that I like about the pattern. I do like the overall fit, and I love the end result. Let me just say that. I do love the end result, and I did not wash and dry my fabric before I cut the pattern out. Now, thankfully, it did not affect the fit as much as it could have. I made these out of a cotton twill, and I got the fabric last year at Joann's, so I can't even give you a link to the fabric that I used, but that is one thing that I want to be doing, is giving you links to the fabric, because a lot of times I see projects and I love the fabric, but there's no way to get that. So it's just a little side note. Anyway, I washed and dried them. I have now washed and dried them twice, and so I think that the fit is fine even after doing that. I no longer have the ability to cuff the bottom. I mean, they would be high waters if I did that. So if I want to wear them with a heeled boot, yeah, that's going to be a problem. The look's not going to be right. So that is one thing that I think I would do differently the next time. I do like the idea of being able to cuff these. Like I said, love the fit. I did a lot more shaping around the waist than they called for in the pattern, just because the difference in my waist to my hips is roughly 10 inches, maybe more. So I did have to size down the waist a lot. And that's one thing that I do want to go over probably in a later video, because I know that that's an issue for a lot of women, is that you get the gaping in the waist, but they fit your hips or they don't fit your hips. The pants for women, trousers for women is a very sore subject. We all know this. So let's go over the images and the video that I've done for you. Okay, so you got to see a few images and some video of me walking in the pants, and you could see the darts that I did the top stitching on. So yeah, I mean, first pair, I really like them. I really like how they turned out. I think maybe in a future pair, I will attempt to do a pocket, probably not a pocket that lays on top of the fabric. It'll definitely be one of the more, I guess, traditional pockets in the seam. And we'll see how I feel about that. See if it looks strange or, you know, if it doesn't actually really matter. Definitely some things that I will do differently in the future. Wash and dry my fabric ahead of time. That's a given. If you're new to sewing, then that's something that you should be doing, is definitely washing and drying your fabric before you use it for a project. I think I may try buttons. I don't know. I'm not crazy about that. I'm not crazy about the idea of having buttons on my hip, just because I don't necessarily want to be drawing attention to my hips because of a button detail. Like I said before, I really like the way that these are, the closure on them. I love that. And yeah, I mean, I have other patterns that are for pants, so I may try some other patterns and see if there's much of a difference. I doubt that there is. It probably, the biggest difference is going to be in the ease. So that's it for my first video back. And now I do have a few things planned to get through probably the end of this year. And one of those is going to be, I do have a green flannel dress that I sewed up last week. So I'll be finishing that up. And I do have a dress that I'm working on for a wedding that's coming up shortly, so I will be featuring that as well. And if you guys like this, please go ahead and like the video, hit the subscribe button so that you can see every time that I upload a video. And in the comments, please let me know if there's anything that you would like to see, if there's a pattern that you would like to see in particular. It could be that I already have that pattern. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.